here to be recognized, please. Varsity football staff. When you start a football season, you go to work with some people, and you argue a bunch, and you do all kinds of things together. You better be able to laugh during the process. These guys are not only outstanding football coaches, they're outstanding men, and I want to thank them personally for all they've done for me since I've been here. I'd like to recognize each one of them individually. Coach John Adams, Coach Eddie Dunaway, Coach Robin Fondo, coaches our receivers. Coach Steve Herford, coaches our secondary. Coach Stan Langston, coaches our defensive end. Coach Dwight Patrick, coaches our linebackers. Coach Kelly Spiller, coaches running backs. Coach Paul Thomas, coaches defensive linebackers. Now, thank you for the year that you've given me. Thank you. Good job. We went through the season and experienced some adversity at different times, and you can look at that as being a negative, but it was a real positive in some guys' lives. There were a lot of guys that stepped up and stepped into some people's shoes, and it was a special year for them. I know this, for all the young men that played, and for all of us that coached them, it'll be a year I'll never forget, and it'll be a year they'll never forget. They may not have reached all the things we wanted to try to get done, but I know this, they're going to stay friends forever. And, I'm proud of what they did, and you should be too. Nick came in this last year as a sophomore, and we threw him into the fire. I mean, just flat threw him in. We'll just go right. We really threw him into the fire this year, and he did an outstanding job. Did a tremendous job against Oak Ridge in a real tough situation. He was called up from the JV with a love for him to be able to stay down there and start all year. He was having an outstanding year there, but he stepped in and really filled some shoes for us on the varsity. Johnny Norwitz. Johnny's a sophomore, came up mid-season, helped. Go Nate! Nate moved in from Tomball this past year. Nate's a very talented young man. I'm not real sure we got more out of anybody on our football team than Josh Matthews this year. This guy came out and he played outstanding for us, both offensively and defensively. He was the 9th leading tackler on our football team, despite not starting defensively. He had 1 interception, had 300 yards rushing, and 2 TDs. I think all of you remember a kickoff return against Willis. He was named top dog on our boards and our award lockers. Josh had an outstanding year, tremendous blocker, did a great job. From San Antonio, Mike tied for the lead in interceptions on our football team with 3. He ended up starting the year at defensive back for us. He's a heck of a competitor. He was named top dog 1 week on our award lockers. Mike begged to carry the football all the time, and he's going to end up getting it some next year. Mike's a good football player, great competitor. John Hancock. John Hancock is an outstanding athlete. We've just kind of tipped the scales about what he can do as a football player. He's fixing to be just a real mean linebacker in a year, and starting offensive guard for us all year long. He did an outstanding job. We kind of got down where we were running the football an awful lot, with a lot of responsibility. What can you say about Charlie? No, might just let Charlie speak. Charlie's an outstanding football player. And right now he's having an outstanding offseason. Charlie's a good player now. He's fixing to be a great player in the future. Steve Griffin started at right tackle for 10 football games this last year. He was an outstanding football player. I'm not sure we have a more serious football player on our football team. Brent came on this last year after Dustin Gallis injured his knee. He ended up starting defensive back for us at corner. Just stand there until I get through talking about it. Started at cornerback for us. Tied to the team with 3 interceptions. Took 1 back the distance for a touchdown. Was the 6th leading tackle for the football team. Brent is an extremely aggressive, tough, hard-nosed guy. Really matured this year. He's developing into a fine young man. I'm proud of you, Brent. Jamie Ford. Jamie Ford started probably a bunch of ball games. This kind of looks like this kind of some stuff that happened during our season this year. Jamie Ford out there covering the fastest people on the other team, and he's walking around like this. He played the last, 2 or 3 ball games like that. Was it 2, 3, 4? Oh, last 4 games. He was covering their fastest people, and he had all kinds of torn stuff down in his ankle. This is kind of guts that we've got to play with all year long. Jamie Ford's an outstanding athlete, did a super job for us, defensive back. Usually assigned to cover the toughest guy all year long. Great job. Good job, Dave. Wayne Miles. Can't say enough about this guy. Stepped in, I remember a conversation we had last spring. We got down to the spring and he said, Coach, you know, it kind of looks like I'm going to be a third-team quarterback. Really like to look at playing receiver, defensive back, something, just so I can help the team somehow. And I said, Randy, we really need you as a quarterback. We need you ready to play. And he started the second football game this season as a varsity quarterback. He continued to get better and better every single week. He fought his guts out every single time we lined out. I'm really proud of you, Randy. You led this football team well. You did a great job. Seth Johnson earned his first letter. Seth returns for kicks for us. Was our next halfback in line to play all the time. Coach Herford had huge trust in Seth in all situations. He said, well, who are we going to put in there? And he goes, put Seth Johnson in there. Kickoff team, put Seth Johnson in. You know, that was the first guy. He said, get that guy in the game. Seth did an outstanding job. Very, very reliable, always there. And we knew Seth was always going to do a good job of everything he did. Good job, Seth. Adam Fortune. It's one of those sad stories. This guy that I really looked forward to the game and didn't get to play as much as he wanted to. He worked himself like crazy on JV, became an outstanding JV safety. Look forward to playing this varsity season. And on the second kickoff of the year, first kickoff of the year, Adam Fortune ended up tearing his knee up and did not get to play. He was a starting defensive back at the time. It's the toughest situation in the world to be in. A lot of guys don't handle it very well. Adam was man enough to handle it well. And other guys really supported him, and so I'm really proud of you, Adam. Goddamn, I wish we could play some more, you know? Jeff Ingram. This guy's played a bunch of football for us. This is his 4th year at Leonard. Leonard is a freshman, come up through, and he's been all district every year. First team this year selected his first team running back all district, first team defensive back all district, 7th leading tackle this year on our defense at 640-something yards, rushing, 8 touchdowns, won the Matter of Effort award. Had some injuries this year. Couldn't keep his daggum shoulders healthy. He kept knocking people out with them and just bad shoulders. But he had a lot more yards rushing, a lot more tackles, everything else. Jeff about as tough as they come. Jeff, I can't tell you how much what you've done for this football program, and I really appreciate it. Eddie Parker. How do you see Eddie earlier? Eddie's getting a second letter. Old shaking back. This guy, he can really swivel. First team was named first team running back this year. Had 851 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. Had a tremendous ball game. Last ball game against Waller, he had 165 yards, which is about 3 times as much as anybody gained against those guys. Had a pretty outstanding punt return. I think you saw that in the highlights against Huntsville. Came to a pretty crucial time. Guy can play. He can flat do it. Just get him the ball, let him go run. Eddie Parker can go play. Last year he led the league in interceptions. His doctor, for some reason, said he couldn't play defense this year, so he just ended up playing on the offensive side of the ball. Went through shoulder surgery, got himself ready to play again, and had an outstanding senior year. Great guy. Get Colton. Not here. Okay. Dustin Gallus. another one of those tough stories. We got the second football game this year. Dustin Bialis went up and did his normal deal, playing defensive back, where he was all district the year before, and ran around the blocker because he was smart enough to run around the blockers instead of running into the blockers. Ran around the blocker and went in and made a great play. The guy happened to just hit his knee as he was making the tackle, and he stretched, tore some cartilage there. And Dustin, being kind of hard-headed like he is, he said, "Coach, I'm gonna rehab. I'm gonna get back. And he just couldn't quite get back. I mean, he couldn't flex, he couldn't extend, and so therefore he couldn't run. But he still fought through and tried to play. And he just ended up going through surgery. He's fixing to have a great baseball season. Dustin Bialis, it's been a lot of fun coaching you, young man. Good game. Nick came out this last year, had high expectations. Nick played running back and also played defensive back for us. He's a very reliable young man. They're always there at workouts. Did a tremendous job on our scout teams. Also played in the kicking game as well. Nick tried to get her kicking up, couldn't quite get it high enough, but did a real good job. Nick's a heck of a young man. Talked to him the other day. Talked about going on. Wants to be a coach one of these days. And Nick, get on out of college. I'll give you a call. We'll do this job. Okay. All right. Good job, Nick. Billy Hobson. Billy Hobson was a running back. He's one of those hard-nosed guys that like putting his hand down and, make the run look a little bit tougher than it really was. Billy ended up having 150 yards for us this last year. Was an outstanding blocker for us, came in and played quite a bit of fullback for us. He also played outside linebacker or corner position. Billy's a very tough young man. He's the guy that knows more stuff than anybody I've ever been around. He knows about cars and everything else. He can fix anything. He'll be a guy that I'll call forever and ever. He's a lot of fun to work with. Heck of a football player, heck of a young man. He's got a great future in front of him. Great job. Hey, White. Cade played defensive back for us. Played a little bit of wing back. Great leader on our football team. For some reason, he got honorable mention defensive back, should have got first or second team, no question. He's fourth leading tackler on our football team. He had four fumble recoveries, just always happened to be around the ball. He was Mo Award winner one time for us. More than anything, Cade was kind of one of those leaders on defense. He'd get everybody lined up right, told where you're supposed to go, how you're supposed to do it, and everything else. He told me a few times what I was supposed to do too. Cade's a heck of a young man. He's a lot of fun to work with, and now they don't miss you, Cade. Great job. David Allison. This is another thing I felt like we got slided on. David started 2 years for us at tight end. Also played some defensive end this year and did a good job there, and probably should have played more there. Could step in hole before the Canyon Creek game. He sprained his ankle. There before the Canyon Creek game is what I was talking about. He was honorable mention tight end, and there is no way that's where he should have been. He should have been at least first or second team tight end. He handled probably all the district opponents' best defensive ends all year long. He was given top dog in one ball game. David, I told him after the season, I thought he was one of the most improved, if not the most improved football player on our football team. He just handled a lot of folks. We didn't get the ball to him, had excellent hands, and just did a good job. I'm proud of David. Jeff Kutak. Jeff did a terrific job for us, played wingback throughout the year in Blanket. You saw him skirting around in there on that little reverse that we ran early in the year. He's got good speed, great hands. Jeff, probably most valuable to us as a blocker out on the perimeter. He was one of those guys that people couldn't shake, and he got after folks in great shape. He's also a great leader on our football team. You got to admire and respect the guy that just gets after it as hard as Jeff does and doesn't ever play. I'm proud of Jeff. Great job. Carl Edwards. Carl was unanimous first team all-district linebacker this year. He led our football team in tackles, had 111 of them, had 3 sacks. He caused 6 fumbles. He hits you and kind of knocks your head off that thing. Helmet goes one way, ball goes the other. Carl had, like I said, he ended up leading tackle on defense. He called all of our signals, became a better leader as the year went on, really did a nice job of that. Carl's a heck of a player, he's got a future in this game. He really does. Great job, Carl. Let's go down there. John Coleman. John Coleman and Carl Edwards, partner in crime. These 2 guys almost lived with Coach Patrick. 2 projects. John Coleman was the other linebacker. He was our second leading tackle. He was named second team all-district as a linebacker. There were a lot of coaches who felt he should have been first team. He won the Mole Award twice. I think he had over 100 tackles this year. John's one of those guys that knows nothing about taking care of his body. He knows about throwing his body into the mix and getting after folks. I mean, I've seen him just go over the top of fullbacks and hit running backs in the mouth. He does a great job. John, we're gonna miss you. Some guys run, really running the football. Great job. Brian Berry. Matt Janacek. This guy can play too. He was the 3rd leading tackle in the ball club. It's the only time I've ever coached a defensive end that had over 100 tackles in the season. And that says a lot about him, because most of the time what defensive end is supposed to do is make sure that those linebackers are uncovered so they can make the play. This guy didn't really believe in that. He believed in going to make it himself. He was first team all-district defensive end. He was 3rd leading tackle with 101. 2 times he won the Matter of Effort award in our lockers. I can't say enough about Matt Janacek. All you know is that when that guy's on the football field, usually there's one side you don't really have to worry about. You know, Matt will take care of that. Matt will take care of that. And so, as far as a fun guy to be around and everything else, there's none but. He's a great guy. Oh, okay. Matt's a pretty humble guy. He said, "Coach, you forgot about my TD." All right. Yeah. I don't remember. Did you lock it loose too?
Here, you just tell him about it.
Coleman knocked it loose and I picked it up and ran it with Carl's blocking.
Yay!
Justin Cardwell. Justin's a 2-year starter at offensive center for us. He probably had the toughest role in the ball club this year. First of all, center is the toughest position on the football field. And he's had it for 2 years. But the second thing he had to do was he had to go play defensive end when he wasn't playing center. And tried to get him started both ways. He ended up playing a bunch on both sides. Won the match award one time this year against for his play against Oak Ridge. And had a nose guard. Justin had an outstanding year. He's a fine football player. And he's a great young man. Justin, I've had a great time coaching him. Ben Pryor. Ben came back out this year. He's one that not a pro for a while, back in the pro. He's one of about, I think we have about 3 guys that came back out this year that they really got back in and was an offensive lineman, also a defensive end for us, and played some good football for us. They ended up helping us a lot with our scout team and got after in good shape. Good job for us, Ben. Came over a year ago and really made his mark. Besides being a great young man and all that, he came out and in 1 year's time, all the districts recognized him as being a first team defensive tackle this year. Great job. He's the 5th leading tackle on our ball club. He's also named top dog 1 week. He really held the middle down and did an outstanding job. Great job, man. Jason Smith. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. I misquoted. He's not 300 pounds. 295? What? 260? 260, all right. Strongest football player we got. If you go over and look at our off-season boards and stuff, Joey Brown is, he benches China and that type of stuff. Joey is an extremely strong football player. This last year, at some point, somewhere along the line, somebody convinced him that he was fixing to become a great offensive lineman, and he did just that. He became the best offensive lineman in this district, in my opinion. I'm talking about mounting people up and just knocking them on their rears, and Joey could do it. He was named first team all-district offensive line. He won the MASH award on the football team 3 different times. Had a tough injury happen early in the rhythm game. It kept him from moving on from continuing the season, but the guy can play. Great year, Joey. Daryl Free. Daryl always looks better than everybody else. You notice that? You know, I mean, he's always dressed better. Looks nice, but all the time. Daryl played and ended up starting the last half, at least the last half of our football season at defensive end. He started at the beginning of the year at offensive tackle. We moved him over to the defensive side and started most of the time there at defensive end on the other side. Daryl is one of those consistent guys. You know he's going to be there all the time. Worked very hard in the weight room to be able to handle his height. You know, he grew tall for real fast, and then really worked hard in the weight room to get caught up with that. And Daryl's had an outstanding career here, 3-year letterman, and you know, he's just done an outstanding job for us. He's one of those guys proud that they're full dogs. Great job. Eric Gonzaga. Eric was an offensive line and defensive end for us. You know, doing a super job. I only wonder what Jack would have done if we'd been there for his junior year, but he did a nice job for us this year. Very team-oriented football player, an outstanding young man. I'm glad you're a part of it. Football a year ago, went through his first off season, and Josh went from a pretty average football player to probably what I thought was one of the top, at least one of the top 5 offensive linemen in the district. He was named second team offensive. Kevin is the best receiver, blocker on the perimeter that I've ever coached, in the bar none. He gets out there and all defensive backs. Coach Herford last spring when we had no pads on, he said, "LA coach, don't make sure that you get Deming out there blocking on the defensive backs. We don't have a defensive back one that can get off of this guy." He stays with him, kind of like a nap. Seth moved back into the district. I used to play as a freshman here, isn't that right? Played here as a freshman, moved away, came back this last year. Seth was a wide receiver for us, played a few ball games for us, did a nice job. Always a guy that's so ready for the Golden Scout team. Pleasure to have on our football team. I think he won the respect of everybody on our team. Those guys, he came to practice every day, got after everybody, and liked playing the game. Seth, I'm glad you're a part of the Bulldogs. Great job. I'm about a guy that finds his guts out. This guy's been an all-district defensive tackle for the last 2 years. Went through kind of tough time early in the season, probably the most frustrated I've ever seen this guy. He sprained his ankle in the 3rd play of the first scrimmage, was out for the first 4 games. Came back, rehabbed, got himself ready, and came back and had an outstanding ball game right out of the bat against Minnesota, and had really a good district season. He was named top dog at one point for one of the ball games. Brett Dempsey's one of those guys that you can go to war with anytime, anywhere, and you'll probably come out of it. He's a great job. Great job, Brett. Jason was a backup center for us this year, and was also a backup linebacker. He was also on all of our special teams all the time. He's probably our best special teams player, probably the best blocker I've seen on kickoff return. Go back and look at the Matthews kickoff return. He had a pancake. Their coach said you were holding. Were you holding? Probably. Anyway, I guarantee you, this guy can play the game against Huntsville. Against Huntsville, he came in and did an outstanding job at linebacker. And Jason was one of those guys that you really rely on as being the guy that can step in and do a job for you in any place, anytime. And one of those great seniors. Real great senior. Good job, David. Performance during the year gave us 2 guys, Joey Brown and Eddie Parker. Come on up. Second award is for special recognition, defensive performance during the course of the year. It's Daniel Ortega and John Coleman. Fighting Heart Award goes to 2 guys I think that epitomize high school football more than any 2 that I can think of. My guys that just have to fight a little harder and get it done and get their chance and everything else. Award goes to Randy Miles and Jeff Kutak. Next 2 awards are voted on by our football team. And again, when you start talking about things, I'm glad these guys have to make this choice. For captains, which I regard as probably the top honor on our football team, because it's voted on by these guys and for each other and so forth. And it came down, there were 5 guys that had well above a lot more votes than everybody else, so there were going to be 5 captains. Those captains are Jeff Ingram, Cade White, Carl Edwards, Matt Janacek, and Brett Dempsey. These are 98 captains. And most valuable player is voted on by the rest of our football team goes to Jeff Ingram. And it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. And you've been great leaders, and I think all of Magnolia really appreciates everything that you've done. You made us a program to be noticed, I guarantee you. I promise you that. Somebody came up the other day and said, anytime you go play Magnolia, you better take the sack lunch, because they won't get after you for the whole time. And I'm proud of what you've done. I'm proud of what you're going to do. All right. Right now, our off-season program is going great. And they need you guys' support. This is your moment. Great job this year. And thanks a lot.